What's up, gamers? It's your boy, Master Chief 69420. I've been getting suggestions for this one a lot. I don't know if it'll be any good, but it's called Oops, All Necromancers.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am your DM, Oz the Great and Powerful, and with me are Bug,
Finny, Satyr Druid, I'll become the top A-list star. You just watch.
C,
Madam L, half-elf bard, deceased child liaison.
I almost changed it from the Great and Powerful to Child Death Profiteer, and then I was like, I can't do that one.
That one's illegal.
Yeah. And Bree.
Sorendal, Hobgoblin Necromancer, blessed be the Burnip Boy.
So tender and custardy, I guess.
Before we get into the recap, I just wanted to mention that we do have a Patreon, as well as a lot of stuff up on social media right now. We have illustrations, and Bug's been making some dice.
Yes,
Very
yummy.
cool.
So, please go check those out. It would be nice of you, and we would love your likes.
Give us your likes.
Give them.
That's right, gamers. Go ahead, like, subscribe, hit the bell. I don't think we have anything on YouTube, really, but hey, check it out.
You can get to all of that by going to bit.ly/allnecromancers.
I'm not even going to attempt to spell it this time because I've flubbed it every time except for the last time when I did okay. You know how to spell all in Necromancers, yes? Yes. So anyway, let's recap what went on in the last episode. Last time in Nithraxil, after a horrid dream sequence involving a certain Torden Vonastor, Soren felt the first boons of his morbid inheritance. Also, he's technically undead now. Oops. After a quick breakfast courtesy of Chef Svaz, our trio had a meeting with JJ about Groon's whole deal. It quickly became clear that JJ was absolutely lying about Groon's servitude, but that particular problem got tossed on the back burner as the carnival opened for the day. While Finny practiced his acrobatics, Madame L once again manifested her spiritual powers and talked with a real-deal ghost. And after chasing down the distraught mother, agreed to investigate her dead child further, and that's where we are now.
I think Madame L would go about gathering up Finnegan and Mr. Soren and kind of vaguely explain what's happening. Probably not go into a lot of detail. I think she would tell them that one of Lady Z's seances went bad, not due to Madame L's presence whatsoever, and now we need to go into town to do some
Damage control.
damage control. Yeah.
So you guys are heading into town. JJ's Traveling Circus was set up sort of on the eastern edge of town, and Griestal basically sits in a curve of the Blackfall River. The Blackfall River comes down out of the north in northern Nithraxil, through Nithraxil into Helvetier, and actually travels through Helvetier. It's one of the two rivers that does. Anyway, you guys are entering from the western edge of town? Yes, western edge of town. And it's a pretty ramshackle little place. There's not a lot as far as, like, stone structures. A lot of it is made out of wattle and daub with, like, thatched roofs. So your standard peasant houses kind of deal.
Just some real peasant houses.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's easy structures that anyone can make, right? Thatched roof cottages, it's thatched roof cottages. You basically just make a structure out of woven wood, you slap a bunch of clay around it, ta-da, it's a house.
Hell yeah.
But a few points of interest. The tallest building in the entire town is, in fact, made of stone. As you guys approach and are, maybe catching up on what's going on, whether Madame L's telling you or whatever, you see that there is a sign out front that has what looks to be a witch being burned at the stake. And it says below it, the Hag's Steak, which is the name of this establishment.
It's a Texas Roadhouse equivalent.
No, it's spelled steak like the piece of wood, you goobers.
Every 30 minutes they come out and do a little dance and everyone hates it and they want to die.
Yeah, and they're all wearing lederhosen and, cowboy hats. The cowboy hats don't change. But it is a 3-story tall stone building. Your guess based on the name, the sign, and it's a big 3-story building, probably an inn/tavern. On the far edge of town, which is like the riverside, there are some docks. You can smell from the northern edge some sort of tannery, which you were told is where Hegrig lives/works. And it's mostly the wind blows down from the north, and you smell, urine, dung, organ smells. You reckon probably a tannery.
The fresh air of
Yummy.
Nebraska.
Other than that, the only other stone building that is visible is a 2-story stone building that has a look that is familiar to you, Soren, and that it looks like a more permanent version of the barracks that you were in when you were in the Nithraxi army.
Cool, there's a military outpost. I love it.
When we're walking into town, do we get like a read on the landscape around the town? I kind of got the vibe before. Are we just kind of smack in the middle of a bog alongside this river, or is there?
Oh yeah, basically. I think technically it's a fin, but it is a wetland. Ground's pretty squishy. It definitely rains a bit more in this area.
My hooves keep sinking into the ground.
Yes, they do. Sorry, there's also a welcome to Griechdal sign that says population 1,623, and you see it, the 3 has been marked out and now reads 2.
That's somebody's job.
So yeah, this is the town of Griechdal. If you want to explore some more, you can. There's, of course, you can hear a blacksmith in the distance. If you guys want to do any shopping, they will have the amenities. Griechdal is sort of a trades town because it's situated on the river. So you might be able to find some traveling merchants in the Hag's Steak, if that's something you want to do. Or you can head directly to the tannery. It is literally a follow your nose thing, won't be hard to find.
So, did Madame L, explain, was it just sort of hey, something happened?
That one's up to Madame L.
Yeah, basically, she would have told you that a seance went bad, and we need to go into town to do some damage control.
Okay. That was the full extent of the explanation?
Yes, for now.
Okay.
For now, she.
But...
I think she shortly. I think she'll give a little bit more, but I don't think. I don't think she is inclined to let on the extent of the matter.
Okay.
I will say that people generally keep an eye on you. Travelers do occur, but we'll say that your mode of dress is a little bit different.
The mode of dress reminds me, I don't know if I've outlined this so far, but Madame L has been forced to dress down a little bit, just so that she doesn't outdo Lady Z. She's kind of dressed in more muted tones and kind of has probably a little hood or some kind of cloak about. So what do you two think? Do we need to get down to business, or should we do some sightseeing? It just looks like there's plenty to see.
Benny looks at the mud on his hooves and is like, "What? You didn't even tell us why we're here."
Well, yes, I did. It's for damage control. We need to go down to the tannery, and a dissatisfied customer needs to be pleased, if you would. So we just need to go down to the tannery and set things right.
Okay.
Well, first off, could I roll to see if I know, like, general attitudes towards magic use?
Yeah, sure. We'll go history.
Okay.
And you do have advantage because you are from Nithraxil.
Okay. So, second one was a 17 plus 5, 22.
Hot damn. So I understand that with seeing that a place is called the Hag Stake and there's a witch burning at the stake on the sign. Yeah, I get why you might get that impression. You know that in Nithraxil it's not like magic is outlawed. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it depends on the type of magic and it depends on what you're doing with it. Mm-hmm. If you are striding into town and, shooting firebolts into the air just because you can, that's like waving a gun around.
That's some sorcerer shit. Don't even...
Don't compare us to sorcerers.
Just use your discretion. Well, you can stride into town and shoot a fireball into the air and go, this town is now mine, but...
I know better
They're not going to be the happiest about this, but also they know what magic is. Like, most of them have most likely served in the military for a short stint of time. Mm-hmm. And, like, there are dedicated magic user units. Mm-hmm. So they know what magic is. It's just a thing of, like, they probably served their obligatory, 4 to 6 years or whatever and survived. And then they came home to live life as it is.
Mm-hmm. I was mostly curious because I wanted to know if it would be worth trying to find some means of communicating with Groon.
Oh, you want to look for a magic shop?
Yeah.
If you want to do a general look-see, we can just word it as a perception check and assume that that's you asking around, looking around. If you spend enough time looking, you will find something, assuming there's something in this town for you to find.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we can either roll or we can just use your base perception, whatever you want to do.
Okay. Madam L, there is, something I would like to look into, while we're here, but it depends on how urgent this nebulous damage control is. I would like to find a way to, communicate, with Groon more reliably, for obvious reasons. However, it can wait unless you expect us to be leaving Grishtal on less than pleasant terms.
Perhaps it would be better to do it now rather than later. We don't know what the future holds.
Nope, and we don't even know why we're here. Okay. My passive perception is 16, but I can roll or do an investigation or whatever.
You said passive investigation's a 16, or not investigation, perception's a 16?
Mm-hmm, but I can still roll if I need to.
Yeah, go ahead and roll for me.
Okay.
And describe how you are trying to look for this place. Are you just roaming the streets? Are you talking to people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna roll. I got a fucking 2 plus 1. I have a 3. Oh, I actually realized what I would probably do.
Okay.
Is probably go off into a corner, like behind somebody's fucking house or something.
Uh-huh.
Just cast Detect Magic and then walk around with Detect Magic active. Hey, what's up? I was just admiring your burn yips. Don't worry, it's all good.
So I think with that 3, you'd probably do the whole detect magic thing, and you end up heading toward the higher end part of town or whatever, and you sense something down this alleyway, and you start to walk down it and walk directly into a door.
Oh.
And you back up for a second and look up and read a sign that says Gustav's Gristal Grift.
What?
And where this alleyway was, there's instead a about 3-story tall, thin building stuck between the two buildings.
So you're saying the 3 is just because we rolled low, so now we have to deal with the alligator, crocodile. What was it?
He's a gator man.
Okay.
Finny was following behind, by the way.
Wallace, where do you think he's going? What's going on? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They're all weird. Yeah. Well, adults are just weird. I don't know. I just want to see what's going on. I mean, it's fun. We're like tourists. Yeah, this is so cool. And that, yeah. So what's this place? And Finny runs up to the door and opens it.
It's don't touch anything.
And you hear the light tinkle of a bell. And other than that, the shop is quiet. Same deal, you know, shelves along the walls and like freestanding shelves in between with various trinkets and gewgaws and wands and staves and what have you.
It's so shiny in here.
And there is, of course, the taxidermied goblin hanging from the ceiling. You notice that it is slightly rotten compared to a month ago when you were last in the Gustav brand store.
Distasteful. Okay, I kind of like nervously look around to see if Gustav is present, or because I'm expecting him to like just appear behind me.
Let's see here. What's your passive perception?
16.
You do not see Gustav.
Oh my god. So ominous.
You cannot clock this croc.
Just be careful, Finny, okay? There's,
What's this? Finny starts picking things up. Wow, this is so cool.
And there's a pff, and Gustav, who of course Sora knows, but Finny does not, appears directly next to you, Finny, and goes, I would not mess with items of a magical nature unless you understand their nature, child. What is your name? I'm Gustav. Welcome to Gustav's Gristall Grift.
Oh, it's nice to meet you. My name's Finnegan, but you can call me Finny. And Finny holds his hand out enthusiastically for a handshake.
You see, it's hard to read a smile on a gator man's face, considering how toothy they are. But his seems to widen just a little bit, and he holds out a clawed hand and goes, Truly, the pleasure is mine. And he looks up, and go ahead and give me an insight check as he looks directly at Wallace,
Alrighty.
who I assume is sitting on top of your head,
yeah.
Ratatouille style.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see. Rolled a 12 plus 2, 14.
There is a somewhat avaricious gleam in his eye as he goes, And who is your little friend?
Oh, that's my brother Wallace.
Ah, brother. Mm-hmm. So not property. Yes, then. Good, good. Well, if I can be of any assistance to either of you, and he turns and looks directly at you, Soren.
Yeah.
Please, just ring this bell. And he hands Finny a small silver bell on a handle.
Shiny.
Madame L, I think, is just kind of boredly looking around. Would she have any familiarity with Gustav being from Helvetir? And
I don't think that she would have gotten anything sort of magical from Gustav, because Gustav's thing is really vaguely shoddy magic items for cheap.
okay.
So that was why he was making a killing at the university, because he was selling kind of shoddy stuff to university students at a highly marked up price. And like, he's honest about it based on, you know, the name of his store here. I think you probably knew about the store because it was pretty close to campus, but would go out of your way to go to a higher end place because that's like what's expected of you as part of a noble's family. As you wander around, you notice a sign that says, you know, like there's directorial signs. This place is, like I said, fairly big. I mean, it's several stories tall, about 10 foot wide, and it's deep.
It's kind of how like a lot of houses in New Orleans are. Like, it's just sort of like a long, thin house, kind of, where everything's kind of in a line.
Sure, that. It should be noted that the additional floors above are not like separate. Essentially, there is shelving all the way up the walls, and there are walkways up, and then there are ladders to climb to get up to those walkways. So it's completely open up to the top with like crosswalks between each side of the walkways and stuff. But anyway, you see some signage pointing towards scrolls. Make your way up to the 3rd floor, all the way to the back. And they're kind of just in, those, like, big square wire racks that excess stock is put into at, like, Walmart or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's that, but full of scrolls. Where each one's sealed with, like, a wax symbol, and some of them have, like, 50% off listed on them.
Oh, hell yeah, discount Scroll Depot.
God.
And you delve, and finally, when you're almost halfway up your torso, deep in this scroll box, you find one that you could swear when you touched the seal, it felt like something licking your fingertips.
Oh,
Gross. Gross.
And you see the wax seal has what is obviously a tongue on it, and you're pretty sure it's a scroll of tongues, but you have no way of knowing because you didn't write these scrolls.
yeah.
And you don't have the spell Identify, do you?
No, I don't. I guess I hate it, but I guess I grab it. Are there any other good scrolls kicking around up here?
It is hard to tell specifically
I
what
also-
each one is.
Yeah, I also don't know how much scrolls cost, so I probably don't even have enough money for one.
I will tell you in above game terms that Tongues is a 3rd level spell. So
Well, I could use it once, but then I couldn't learn it forever.
that is correct. You can't learn it until 5th level, and you're level 2.
Though, to be fair, something I do want to check on is how much do these scrolls cost? Because I don't want to waste time RPing this if I don't have the money or the items to trade for it.
You would have to ask Gustav.
Oh, God.
I have let Wallace hold the bell, so now I have Wallace who is sitting on top of the bell on top of my head, and we're just like pointing at things and going and saying to Madame L, "Look at that! Whoa! Look at this one! Whoa! You see this one?
It all looks rather shoddy to me, Finnegan.
I think it looks fancy."
Madame L is kind of standing there tapping her foot impatiently while Soren rifles through all of these scrolls.
Yeah, I guess I'll climb down from the ladder. I think I found what we need. And I kind of brandish it. Finny,
Yes,
the bell.
I'm not the holder of the bell.
Wallace, could you please?
And Wallace lifts the bell with both his paws, because it's a heavy thing for him. And he full body wiggles to ring it. And there's a and Gustav appears right next to you, Soren.
Oh, hi. Hello.
How can Gustav help you today?
This. How much is this?
And he goes, 1 scroll of tongues. That will be... what will you offer me? Gustav always loves a good trade. Old chewing of the old fat. And he winks at you.
Okay, let me check. I take my backpack off my back and kind of hold it in front of me, and I'm kind of rifling around. What do I have? Here's the thing, I don't know how much a gun is worth, but I feel like a gun is worth more than 400 gold.
Depending on the seller, or depending on the buyer.
I don't know. See, could I roll to see if Soren would know what a reasonable offer would be?
Yeah, you can do,
Money.
do an Arcana.
Roll my money check.
Just see if you kind of know its general worth.
I did bad. 11. I got an 11 on Arcana.
You think that it would be worth maybe the gun, but you don't know if Gustav would necessarily be interested. But you also know that the gun would probably be worth less because of the branding on it.
But it's in Helvet. We're not in Helveteer anymore.
Correct, but it's a thing of either alterations need to be made to the gun, or depending on who sees whom with it, you could end up with a war starting kind of thing.
Oh.
Because it's a Helveteer gun and potentially the ownership of a Nethraxite.
I think I think Madame L would see Soren kind of floundering with this social interaction
Making a purchase.
and step up and say, how about I offer a trade? I have a Sigil of Daylight. It's a vintage Nithraxian model. That seems adequate to me, don't you think?
A sigil, you say? Now those are useful. Don't need to read them like you do scrolls. And he... Are you sure I can't convince you to trade the tiny undead rat for the scroll?
What?
Wallace is his own person. That is messed up, mister. I thought you were cool, but maybe you're not.
I'm just interested in arcane curiosities, and it seems your friend is one of those.
Wallace crosses his arms and shakes his head.
Now, before we make this trade, this scroll of tongues, it contains within the spell tongues, is that correct? We will be able to hear other languages and understand them.
Yes.
Can I do an insight
That
check?
was quite a pause.
You absolutely can.
I was gonna do, can I do the
Yeah,
same
I'm
thing?
also doing an inside check.
I rolled a nat 1.
I rolled a 9.
I got a
a 9.
13.
You reckon that yes is a yes.
Okay.
With the 13, you're fairly certain that the yes is a yes, and maybe it was just the DM pausing and not Gustav.
Like, would he consider me making scrolls for him to be, an adequate trade? Instead of needing to get rid of the sigil?
I mean, you could ask that, but the general thing is that he has no way of knowing if you're going to be back or not.
That's true, and it takes a while.
As thrilling as fantasy commerce is, too, I'm fine with just making this trade and getting out of here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, he'll trade. It's fine.
Okay, cool.
And as you are leaving, Gustav goes, "Thank you, and please come again to Gustav's Grishtal Grift." And as you leave, you hear the bell ring as the door shuts behind you, and then and you turn around and Gustav's Grishtal Grift is gone, and there is just an alleyway.
Oh,
Huh.
I hate going in there every time.
That was something. Wallace is still folding his arms and shaking his head in disappointment.
Go ahead and add, well, I guess it'd be to Finney's inventory, one small silver bell,
Ooh, okay.
as Gustav forgot to ask for his bell back. Do mark next to it Gustav's bell, if you don't mind.
Okay.
We made it through a fantasy shop in an hour. That's a record time.
We were technically only in the shop for about 15 minutes, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, the reason why Gustav showed up again, full disclosure, is because I didn't want to have to create a new magic item vendor in every single town we go to.
No, it's
Yeah,
fucking
no, I
sick.
think
So
I think it
Gustav is
works
everywhere.
very well.
I want Gustav to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Madam L,
Yes, Mr. Soren.
thanks for, spotting me back there. I appreciate it.
Oh, the sigil, that was nothing.
It's all fun and games till 8 sessions later you guys face a vampire and that daylight sigil would have just ended the encounter.
I know, I was thinking about that, but we'll deal with that when it happens.
Anyway, let's continue on to the business at hand, shall we? And as we near the tannery, it seems like Madame L is kind of forced to open up a little bit about the situation. Now, when I say damage control, Lady Z's seance did go poorly. We are afraid that if word gets out, that it could cost the circus quite a bit. But there was something else.
Something else?
Yes, the woman, she came in search for her child who had disappeared, and Lady Z fed her all the hubbub that you'd expect from such a charlatan, but I saw something. I saw a spirit.
Huh?
That's all?
What do you mean, that's all, Mr. Soren? I saw the spirit of a dead child.
Oh.
You know where we are, right? If that was all, you didn't... There was no need to be so cagey about it. Ghosts are everywhere.
This is coming from the person who was furious about the last one.
Yes, because we were in Helvetier. Everyone's grandma isn't kicking around in the 3rd floor in Helvetier.
But they are in Nithraxil.
Maybe not everyone's grandmother, no, but it's not uncommon here.
Why was I the only one who could see the spirit?
Well, not everyone can. The land here can change people. Typically, it varies from place to place, but generally about, say, 1 in 10 individuals has the ability to see and communicate with spirits. It's really not that remarkable, at least in these parts.
Well then.
Madam L, realizing that she's no longer a big fish in a little pond, but a relatively normal-sized fish in a very large ocean.
You're no tuna. You're not even a sardine.
Madam L downgraded to trout status.
Trout status.
I think then Madame Al will kind of quietly be reassessing her position in this situation as she walks up to the tannery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so as you guys head north in the city, God,
Oh.
it is a town. I think technically it is a hamlet based on the amount of people that live there. Things start to get a little more downtrodden, if you will. The huts become a little more ramshackle and smaller in size. You reckon most of them are just single-room living spaces, and the tannery is the largest place in this area of town, just being 2 stories tall as far as the beam house, and there is a small attached building next to it, presumably where Hegrig lives.
I got a 9 just to kind of assess the building we're walking into.
I got an 18.
Ooh, I got
Gotcha.
a 12.
I will say, let's say that the smell of the tannery is so disarming to the senses that Madame L can't really focus.
Mm-hmm. That reads.
Finney travels through sewers, okay? He is a outlier that should not be counted.
Finney is unaffected by the hole.
Yeah, the tannery smells nicer than some places you've been, so. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to see. Almost directly behind the tannery, I'd say a good 50 feet out or so, is where the Finn starts proper. Actual trees and what have you. And Finney, you notice that, like, it's kind of a gray day because it's always kind of a gray day in Nithraxil. Like, sunlight is exceedingly rare, if ever.
Mm-hmm.
But you notice that this forest is darker than it should be. Like, it's, 11 a.m., and this place looks like, basically, as soon as you'd step to the threshold of it, it's nighttime.
Spooky.
So.
Spooky.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and knock on the door.
And the door opens, and it is Hegrig. And she looks up at you, Madam L, and goes, "Oh, you came. Please, come in." And she welcomes you guys inside. This area that is attached to the tannery is just sort of a small home. From where you can see, the majority of this small home is just sort of, you've got your cooking area with, like, a fireplace and what have you, and a table set up with 4 chairs and a couple of beds. And then there is a door which you assume leads directly to the tannery based on its location. But other than that, it is just you, Hegrig, and yeah, just you guys and Hegrig. "May I offer you all something to drink? Please sit down and we can discuss."
Tea is fine for me, thank you.
Do you have fancy water?
And she smiles a little bit and goes, I have clean water, dear. Will that be all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fancy enough for me, thank you.
And she, get your drinks, whatever. Sits down at the table.
Madam Hegrig, I must apologize again for that old woman's performance. It was distasteful, to say the least.
That's quite all right, madam. Everyone has their off days, I guess. So you are willing to help? You're willing to find my son?
Oh.
I think Madam L has gotten to this point based purely off of instinct, really, rather than the more formulated approach she tends to take.
What do you mean? Madam L, can you please tell us why we're here? For real.
I told you already, Finnegan. During the seance, I connected with the spirit of the child, who was quite frantic and was saying something about, something like being lost in the woods, seeing a shack, seeing some kind of small creatures, and I felt compelled to come here to see what we could do. It is our job, after all, to reach out to the spirits and bring solace to those who need it.
Hegrig, Soren, by the way, I'm very sorry for your loss. I presume when you say find your son, you mean his remains?
And you see her eyes go kind of misty, and she says, yes.
It would be best not to leave them unattended. I kind of look at Madame L like, is she gonna give us any more details, or?
The truth of the matter is there's no more details. I don't think...
Oh, okay. No. Okay.
I think she'll look at Soren and be like,
Yeah.
What do you, what do you want?
Nothing, Madame L. Hegrig, I understand this is a very, delicate topic, and a very hard time, but is there any information you can give us about his last known whereabouts?
Of course. It was about a week ago, and my broodmate Auric was keeping an eye on him, and he swears that he only turned away for just a moment, and Petrov was playing out in the field behind the tannery, and when he looked back, he was gone.
How common is it for kids to just get yoinked?
Depends on where you're at.
Have there been other instances of missing children recently?
Not that I know of. I went to the town guard and requested they help search, but they won't go into the fin. No one will. There are things in that fin that mortals should not see.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a bad feeling about it. When I looked into it, it felt dark.
You would not be incorrect, child. Unfortunately, as tanners, we have to be somewhere on the edge of town. They simply won't have us further in. So it's either live by the fin or do not live.
So, do you think he would go into the fen?
That is the closest place, unless he dashed all the way to the river in under 2 minutes.
Is there any kind of map or any way of navigating this terrain?
Occasionally, some of the local hunters will go in large groups to forage, but it is largely unmapped. I regret to say that you would most likely be going in blind, but if any of you are avid trackers or know someone, perhaps you could find where he went. I know it's been a week, and things fade with time, but perhaps that would work, or you could try and get the guard to assist, but
I don't think we'll need to do that.
There is one other option, and that would be for us to try to reach out to Petrov and see if he can guide us.
if that is within your abilities.
I'm looking at Madam L like, can you really do that?
I don't. Above table, I don't know. Though you mentioned the mechanic. How did that mechanic work again, Oz?
Essentially, it would be using Arcana to try and communicate with a spirit, with the check being easier the more you have. So, like, if you have a piece of them, like their blood or something, that's great. Or if you have a piece of their clothing or an item that was important, like
Baby
your classic
teeth.
spiritualist stuff. You know, if you have an item that's important to them, it makes it easier. And essentially is not a thing of you can try over and over. However, if you gain new resources, you can try again if you failed the first time. So, like, if you tried to contact Petrov right now, but you have no sort of connection, it's going to be pretty hard, but you could possibly do it. But if you fail, then you can't try until you find something new. Like, if you found some blood, or if you happen to get an item of Petrov's from Hegrig,
Yeah.
you could try then.
Here, I'll just roleplay it, if that's okay.
No, how dare you? We don't roleplay. This is a wargaming system, and we only do roles here.
And commerce and strategy.
We do commerce and tactics, and that's why we use battle maps.
I believe it is in the scope of my abilities, but it would be much easier if I had some kind of personal affect of Petrov's. The more dear, the more precious to him, the better.
Of course, allow me to do some looking around. I'm sure that one of his dolls is around here somewhere. And she goes off and goes to a tiny chest next to, like, a larger one at the end of a bed. And if you kind of peer while she opens it, you see that it's a little toy chest. There's, like, a wooden sword and a little shield, and then she grabs out a small stuffed dragon that is the same color as her scales and Petrov's, which is bronze.
Aw.
While she's like sort of rifling around, I'm gonna kind of like lean over to Madam L like,
I realize this might not be the time, but can you actually do that? Like, Madam L, I'm not trying to be overtly hostile about this, but if we're going to go wandering into the fens based on an ability that you say you have that you don't actually have, we're going to have more than a few problems.
Well, I thought my abilities were common around here, Mr. Soren.
I said, okay, Madam L, the ability to see spirits is not uncommon. The ability to track them, invoke them, or communicate with them on your own terms is not. So please, I'm only asking so we don't wander in to what is obviously a death trap, completely unprepared.
Vinny keeps leaning in closer and closer to listen to what they're both saying.
Rest assured, if I am unable to contact the spirit, we will find some other means to ensure our safety.
Okay, thank you.
So she returns with this small stuffed dragon and sets it on the table, and you see that its scales are actually made of bronze, and they've been, like, stitched to this plush.
Oh,
And it sort of clinks as she sets it down.
I
and
want
goes,
one.
"This was his favorite. Perhaps it will aid you."
Very good. Now, if we could all gather around and join hands,
Would it work better with more people?
if you would like to bring in your broodmate, I'm sure that would assist in the ritual.
Of course, I will return shortly with them. And she goes off through the side door, and you could kind of hear what sounded like someone or someone's working in the tannery, whether it's like, liquid sloshing around or just sort of the thump of tools or stuff like that. And after a moment, it gets a little quieter and then completely quiet as it sounds like work stops. and she returns with 2 other kobolds, one of which is silver, the other is golden, and goes, "These are my broodmates, Auric and Argenta. We just want our boy back." And Auric nods at you. That's the gold one. And Argenta also nods, silver one. And you guys join hands. And I will say that with the collective energy of everyone sort of willing it together, we'll go with advantage on this check.
I have a +3 to Arcana, so hopefully the first roll is a 16. And the other one is lower, so 16.
Okay. So as you all join hands, is there any specific sort of seance-y thing you do, or you just want me to go ahead and roll with it?
I think for this one, you can take the reins. I got the last one.
Cool. So as you all join hands and just sort of lean inwards and focus on this small bronze dragon plush, you do your normal thing of, spirits of the beyond, come and talk to us, blah, 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 blah. And this one differs in that you don't have your unseen servant do anything. You don't kick the table around or anything like that. But the fire and the hearth gutters, and a small wisp raises out of this bronze dragon, and it is Petrov. It is the same kobold you saw, and it turns and looks around the table and goes, "Mom? Dads?" And then looks at you and goes, "Oh, it's you again. Are you here to help?"
Yes, that's right, Petrov. I'm afraid time is of the essence, however, and Madma wants to look around and see if anyone else can see or hear him.
I was gonna ask the same thing.
Let's see, you got a 16. We will say you can fully hear and see Petrov, but I think that to the others, all they see is a wisp of light that is floating and the flame guttering.
Okay. Well, at least that's something. Petrov, we are trying to find your location out in the fen. Do you know if you could help us there? Do you know if you could show us where you went?
I can try, but there was just so much running. I was being chased. I don't know if I can guide you directly, but Umnar might be able to help.
And he's clearly looking at this bronze dragon plush. And he looks back up at you.
How do you suppose he could help?
Well, he's my best friend, so he can probably find me.
That may be so. Did you happen to see any landmarks or any kind of anything that might give us some kind of indication?
Well, there was Finn and the creatures, and then the big tree with a door on it, and that's, I don't want to talk about the rest.
The fin and the creatures and the big tree with a door on it. The creatures, can you tell me about those?
They were awful. They were small and covered in this goo, and they kept teasing me and chasing me, and they kept popping in and out of existence. Oh, there was an ooze. There was an ooze on the trees whenever I was running, and I remember seeing it the whole way there on this tree and that one.
And then he goes,
I'm sorry. I'm not being very helpful, am I?
Oh no, of course you're doing the best you can. And that's all anyone can do,
He goes, yeah.
he foofs out and the fire stops guttering and is just normal. And the wisp disappears to the rest of you. It sinks back into the bronze dragon.
What happened?
By the way, you all heard what Madame L was saying.
Oh, okay.
It would appear that Petrov is lost in the fin, or was lost rather, and he encountered some kind of very small black ooze-like creatures. They may have guided him to some kind of tree with a door in it, and I'm afraid he didn't say much else. There was ooze in the trees on the way there that might be able to assist us in our locating him, but I'm afraid it's not much.
Can I roll an Arcana?
To see what those creatures are?
Or if the ooze sounds familiar, if a tree with a door in it sounds familiar, any of it.
Yep, go ahead.
Alrighty. I did not do very well. I got a 9.
9's not gonna be enough.
Okay.
You don't know. I mean, tree ooze, sap, or algae, or you can't think of anything particularly magical, especially when tied to creatures. I mean, there's oozes and slimes, but you don't know of any oozes and slimes that can either teleport or turn invisible. Mm-hmm. And the description of the creatures implies some sort of intelligence, so you think probably not oozes. But you don't know. I don't think you've ever dealt with these creatures. They're relatively rare.
Okay.
So, yep, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I don't always know things. It's all right.
Whenever you mention small creatures, I think that Argenta pops his head up. I've heard of those. They come from somewhere. Call them boogles, boggles, wretched little things.
What do they do?
Usually they're just little pests, but sometimes they're servants for hags, I think it is. Witches of some sort. Practitioners of ill-begotten magics.
Oh, cool. What do I know about hags? Can I roll so I could be just
You
as
sure can.
disappointed? Oh, fuck me. It's better. 12 on the dice. 17 for Arcana.
Okie dokie. You do not know what specific hag it is. Mm-hmm. Hags are bad news.
Yeah, I know.
Especially if there's a coven. You don't know if it's a coven or not because you don't have all the details. If it is, it's a big deal. If it's one hag, it might be more manageable. Hags like to devour kids.
Oh. Okay.
Typically babies, but, sometimes they go bigger. Changelings are a thing, which are descended from hags.
Is there anyone in town who deals with threats like hags out in the fen?
No, I think the closest thing would be the guard, but they don't generally go too deep into the fen. They might have more information in regards to any other disappearances or anything like that.
I don't know that will be necessary.
What do you think, Mr. Soren? Should we try to do the tracking on our own, or should we try to enlist some help from our camp?
My inclination was to ask Buzzwhip, if he can be convinced. But I would also, potentially, I don't know if you know, Auric Hegrig, or Argenta, is there anywhere in town where records are stored?
That would probably be the hag's stake. Thorismud he might have some of that stored away somewhere. His family's, as far as anyone can tell, has been around Gristal since its inception.
Understood. Then it would seem, Madame L, at the very least we have a starting point. We would need to expedite the process as much as possible, but I do think it would be worthwhile to try to find as much information about the situation we're putting ourselves into, beforehand.
You mean like try and get a map?
A map, or any specific details, on the dangers present in the fen. I would rather there was only... While I would prefer there was no one missing, I would prefer that the three of us come back intact.
Well, that sounds like a good starting point, as good as any.
Okay.
Above table, what are we thinking? It's the trouble because I want to play in a way that is fun and D&D and getting into encounters, but also having to play realistically. You know what I mean? Like,
That is like kind of how you play D&D sometimes though. Like if you're going into a situation and you roll well enough, you find out, oh, this situation is way more dangerous than we initially thought. We need to be prepared. And then you kind of sometimes, depending on your GM and the type of game you're playing, you do need to gather more information. Like you need to get resources and maybe sometimes people to help you, and you need more information so that you don't all fucking die.
Yeah. As far as options, so you mentioned Buzzwhip. I'm not going to say it is completely out of the question, but it's going to be a hard persuasion check.
I'll give him a gun.
It's still going to be a hard one because he's been with the circus for a bit, and also he's in charge of the entire menagerie. And if literally any of those creatures gets out, it's a bad time. It is a bad time for everyone. You could check out the Hag's Stake and have a talk with Thorismund. That was the mentioned proprietor / mayor of Griestal. Or proprietor of the Hag's Stake, mayor of Griestal. You do have your Scroll of Tongues, which you could reasonably try and use to communicate with Grun to see if Grun wants to go with you. He's kind of a free agent.
Yeah, but I don't think it would occur to me to ask him.
yeah. I think the Hag's Stake is pretty clearly our next place.
You also could go to the guards
No.
if you want to try and get more information.
Madam L doesn't really want to deal with the Nithraxi military either, so...
Yeah, I think we're all pretty much over guards.
Though, like, to be fair, they probably... I mean, if we're not able to get details from Thorismund, then, like, we might have to.
Well, enough table talk. Let's just navigate there then and see how it goes, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I guess we'll bid the kobolds adieu.
And they thank you for coming out. Stop back by whenever. Let them know if they can do anything else to be of assistance. And they're very appreciative. I don't feel like role-playing that whole thing, and I think it's unnecessary, but...
Yeah.
Oh, and they do, of course, say goodbye, and I assume you, Soren, also say goodbye.
Yes.
Okie dokie, Hag's Steak. You open the door. It's relatively busy at this time because it's about noon at this point. Lunch is being served. There's some dock workers, wearing their overalls and welly boots and what have you, who are at a table and they're eating. Behind the bar, you assume is Thorismund, who's a big burly balding man, salt and pepper hair. He's got friendly mutton chops. Yes, that is a specific kind of facial hair. Don't at me.
Don't at me, they're friendly.
That's what they're called. It's the mutton chops where the mustache connects.
Oh, friendly.
And, you've got maybe a merchant in the corner who's more well-to-do, who's just having a drink and shooting the shit with someone, some people playing cards, that kind of deal. It's a tavern.
Is it a situation where we walk in and it gets a little quiet, or do people just pay us no mind?
I think that Thorismund definitely clocks you guys because it's his establishment. No one else really bothers too much. It's not uncommon for people to be coming in, especially with this being like lunch hour. People are coming in to get drinks, they're getting food. It's normal.
I guess I want to kind of just sort of peel off from the two of them as we're entering and kind of just sort of find a nook to sit in.
Yep.
Soren's breakfast nook.
It's really sad. It's a sad nook.
Cool. Yeah, you have a seat, and a barmaid walks up to you after a few minutes as she's making her rounds, and just asks if she can get you anything to drink
Just
or eat.
water will be fine, but do you have any braised burnips? I miss burnips, okay?
Bring back Burnips.
Yes, she puts you in for a tankard of water and a plate of braised burnips.
Oh, hell yeah. Burn it time. Okay.
They're a hearty food.
If we ever meet, I don't know if this is possible, but if we ever meet Soren's mother, and she's just like a burn-up fiend, like.
The only thing I was gonna say is, like, I guess above table Oz, while I'm sitting there, like, munching and drinking my water and just kind of hanging out, I am 100% checking everybody out, reading as many lips as I can, trying to see if anybody seems like they might know what's going on or has information they might be willing to share, etc.
Remind me again of how that feat works. Do you have to make a check to read the lips, or do you just do it?
I'm pretty sure I just do it. If I can see a creature's mouth while it is speaking a language you understand, you can interpret the words by reading their lips.
Majority of them are speaking common. So, dock workers are just talking about fishing and moving boxes and that kind of thing. They're talking about dock work, basically, and, just shooting the shit. The merchant who is playing cards, they're just sort of having a friendly conversation. It seems like he's trying to maybe sell someone on something. He's doing a lot of little, telling a bunch of jokes and anecdotes, and some of them are hitting, some of them aren't. Basically trying to... It seems like he's trying to weasel his way into the good graces of this other person. Thorismud is just talking to some regulars, and that is about it. I don't know if you were searching specifically for, like, someone talking about hags, but I am sorry, it is a lunch break. They are not talking about hags.
No, I didn't mean, like, looking for people talking about hags. I was sort of just wanted to sit back and, like, because, it's a lunch break, but if there had been any other, air quotes, incidents... It's a small town. I imagine word probably travels pretty fast, so I'm just eavesdropping, basically.
Correct. Nothing has occurred today. You are correct in that word travels fast, but nothing has occurred today that would be of interest, it seems.
Okay.
I mean, a week ago is a long time in gossip. So.
Yeah, but I don't know how often stuff like this happens here, so I'll just be enjoying my burnips while y'all...
sorry.
do something for actually useful.
Well, no, it's still nice to have another set of eyes. But while Soren enjoys his burn-ups, Madame L and Finny will walk up to Thormund and take a seat at the bar.
And he looks at you and goes, welcome to the Hag's Steak. Real quick, species. And he looks at you, Madame L, and you see him whip out this giant book.
Why, I'm a half-elf.
Right, half-elf. And you see him looking down a list and sort of tracking with his finger, and he goes, and, how old are you?
Well, that's not very polite to ask,
Ma'am, it's the law.
51.
Oh, okay. Good. And, you, sir?
Vinny looks down and questions life and goes,
I don't know.
And he sort of looks at the horns, looks at the hooves, and goes, probably a tiefling. And goes down the list again.
I don't think, well, okay.
And, how old are you?
I'm 13.
Right, nothing but small beer, less strong for you. Got it. So, that out of the way, what can I get you?
Well, we didn't actually want anything to drink.
I'll have a cordial, that's fine. You are Thormund, I presume?
Thorismud, yeah, but, people get it wrong all the time. You sure I can't entice you with a witch's brew? Signature drink.
Sure, why not?
And you, kid? Virgin witch's brew?
Sure.
While we're on the topic of...
Be right back.
Oh, he's leaving.
He walks away.
God damn it.
And you see him pour 2 different things into one tankard, one of which comes from a bottle, another of which comes from a small cask that is sitting behind the bar, and then he goes over to this pot that's on, like, a low flame, and you see him pull out, what's the name for them honey dippers?
Honey dipper.
A
You know-
honey dipper?
Is it just a honey dipper? Anyway, he slurps that into both mugs, brings it back, and goes, "Alrighty, 2 witches' brews."
Thanks.
Now, Thorismud, we're here traveling with the circus, but we have been hired by your local tanners to help with a situation with their young one. Do you know anything about their situation?
That was, the boy, Petrov. Disappeared like a week ago.
That's right.
Yeah, bad news. Bad things in that fin. Who's-he what's-its and werewolves and... Heard there's a hag in there somewhere. I don't know. Thought we burned the last one out decades ago, but you never know. Yeah, isn't it funny how all of my innkeepers have the exact same voice? Weird. This guy was going to be like a Hagrid type, but I don't know. It's part of innkeeper school. We all get the same accent.
Speaking of hags, we have reason to believe that young Petrov was taken by one.
Oof.
You, being the mayor of the town, do you have any vested interest in ridding the fen of such an entity?
It'd be great if Grishtal, didn't have to worry about our kids being stolen by a witch in the woods, but I ain't going in that fin. Sorry.
Does anyone go into the fen?
Oh, sorry, hold on. And he bends under the bar and he grabs a top hat and a sash that says mayor and puts it on and is like, okay, I can do mayor business. No, I mean, sometimes some of the boys go out hunting, but they always go in groups of 10 or so with a whole lot of torches. Usually scares off whatever's in there.
Well, do the boys have any kind of map, any kind of way of getting around?
Why don't you give me highs and lows? We'll determine if the boys have a map, if they've been that good, or if they've just been getting drunk and going out fighting in the woods and trying to...
Highs.
Highs, all right.
They say the boys, and they mean the frat boys.
Yeah, they come all the way up from the Diabolic University.
And beat each other up in the woods for some reason.
It's how they bond.
Yeah. Go ask Tony over there. He'll probably be able to find something for you. And he points over to the table of dock workers. And there is one that he visibly points at. It is a heavier set orc. Burly boy.
Okay.
I think, got some sort of cartography thing going on. Everybody needs a hobby. I guess that's Tony's, so. Go ask him. Hey, listen. If there's a hag in there, not saying there is, but if there is, and you bring back, I don't know, a head, maybe I'll have a little something for you. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, or whatever it is that they say. By the way, you haven't touched your drinks there, I noticed.
Like I said before, we didn't really, come for this, but, sure.
Yeah, well, it's still 1 silver for the 2 of them, so.
Oh, well,
I can't put the honey back in the pot, so.
Finny chugs his drink.
Oh, fantastic.
oh, fuck. No! No! You tricked me!
I'm gonna need you to make a constitution check.
Oh, well, that's a 7.
Cool boy, you are drunk.
But I thought I wasn't supposed to get the alcohol.
Yeah, well, Thorismud wasn't paying too much attention, and also, maybe he just has to do the book thing. It's like a check, but don't really check kind of thing.
Oh my god.
So you're drunk, which means that technically you have the poisoned condition,
Cool, great.
which means you have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks for...
God.
Let's see, it's a pretty strong drink. You're a child. Consider it like having had about 4 shots of whiskey in a
Oh
row.
my god.
It's fine. We're gonna short rest before we do anything dangerous.
Oh, good. You're only drunk for 1 hour.
Whoa.
That's a
as-
powerful immune
That's
system, Finny.
Bay metabolism.
Wallace.
Uh-huh. It tastes like vinegar and whiskey and honey and spices.
Well,
All these fucking,
Wallace.
special drinks are
The-
awful.
room is spinning.
It was bubbling, I should say. That is why it's called the Witch's Brew. something about the mix of vinegar and whiskey and honey creates some sort of bubbling property.
Finny gets up from the stool he was sitting on and starts doing a little spinning dance.
Wallace, isn't it beautiful here? I think we're gonna make lots of friends here. Right, madam?
Wallace has his arms crossed and is shaking his head furiously. He does not approve. How dare you be drunk?
Thank you for your time, Thorismud. And she'll put down some money on the counter and say, "Come along, Finny. We need to speak with the boys."
The boys! The boys!
Of course. More witch's brew for me, I guess. And he looks at it and plugs his nose and just drains it. And, that's good stuff.
So Madame L will go over to the table, and is there an open seat there?
Let's see. Nah, I don't think there is. I think they're a pretty tight-knit group.
Hello, the boys! How are you today?
They stop their conversation, and Tony, who has elected to speak because I don't feel like giving them all names and voices, looks at you and goes, "Hello, the boy. Can we help you?"
Oh, yeah. We've got a question for you. Right, madam?
Ma'am, is your child drunk?
This one is not my child, but yes,
I am a mere apprentice.
it appears so, but that's besides the point. Mr. Thorismud told me that you all might be able to help us with a situation in the fen.
Maybe. What exactly is it that you need?
Well, we have reason to believe that there is a hag on the loose who has taken a child.
Oh yeah, poor Petrov. Good kid. Like to come down to the docks sometimes. Shame about him.
I don't suppose you're willing to do anything about it, hmm?
How many people are going in there?
Well, that depends on
How many do you have?
3.
And he looks at you, and then he looks back to the collective group colloquially known as the boys, and they all burst out laughing. And he's chuckling up a storm, can't stop, wipes his eyes and goes, 3. You're going into the fin with 3 people? So 4 total, right?
3 total, but that would be 6 if the 3 of you came as well.
No. You need a group of 10 or more, unless you want to die horribly in a swamp. I'm guessing Thorismud has some sort of payment in mind.
Yes, he mentioned something of the sort.
If we went, that payment would be coming to us. However, I have a map. It's not a very good map. Doesn't go very deep. We don't go very deep, but it might help.
Well, Mr. the Boy, we are very special people. So don't underestimate us. And yes, there is 4 people. Wallace is a people. Thank you. I will take the map, Mr. the Boy.
Every time Mr. the Boy is killing me.
Finny, give me...
I can't deal with
Give me a persuasion check.
Madame L puts her hand on Finny's shoulder to give him bardic inspiration.
I'm watching this eating my burnips.
In total, that would be a 19.
19 is pretty good, and Tony looks at you, and he goes, "You know what, kid? There's something about you. It might just be that you're drunk, but I like your gusto. I was going to charge you 20 gold for the map, but you know what? If you're crazy enough to go in there, that deserves a little recognition. So, the map is yours. Let me go get it. I'll be back in about 15 minutes. But, you find a bigger group? Sure, we'll go with you."
The map will be fine for now. We'll see what we can do.
And he sort of grabs his napkin, wipes his mouth off, tosses it onto his plate, and gets up and leaves.
I guess so. I'm assuming I was sitting and watching the whole exchange. I also kind of wanted to watch Thorismud after Finny and Madame L stopped their conversation.
He just goes back to what he's doing. Mm-hmm. It's not like he rushes to a back room to go call this witch or whatever.
In that case, maybe while we wait for Tony to go get the map, I think Madame L would kind of tug Finny along and go take a seat with Mr. Soren,
who's currently stuffing his face full of braised bunyip. I don't think braised turnip can be slurped.
You would be wrong.
What, does the inside just sort of liquefy and you hold the skin like some sort of juice pouch?
It's like custardy.
like a Go-Gurt.
It's like custardy. When you roast them like this, it gets sort of custardy on the inside.
That's terrible.
It's Nithraxel, baby!
Vegetables shouldn't do that.
Okay, I'm gonna roleplay now.
Okay. You made me do this! You told me to do this!
Yes. Slurpable. The Burnip.
Mr. Soren, things aren't looking very good. I don't think we're going to get any help from the locals.
I noticed that. What about the map?
The map is inbound.
We're getting the map, thanks to me.
Okay.
Is Finny, obviously plastered?
Oh, absolutely.
Madame L puts her hand to her forehead and says, please don't make a deal of this.
Okay. Focusing. No, I don't think it's likely we'll get any help locally. We could. Buzzwhip may help us. He would have to be convinced. But it's possible. Other than that, I don't really know of anyone else skilled in tracking that would be willing to accompany us.
That seems like as good of an idea as any. If we go back to camp, I'd rather like to avoid Lady Z, however.
Everyone feels that way, so you're not alone. I can get us back without, drawing her gaze, I suppose. Okay.
I pay for my burnips,
and we leave.
Tony comes back, gives you the map. I think that you have one remaining braised burnip on your plate, and he kind of grabs it and starts slurping on it as payment, and goes back to his table.
Everyone knows that you saved the last burnip for a new friend.
It's a Nithraxel tradition.
That is... You're going to mention it at least 2 more times before this episode's done, and that'll make it canon. But I don't want it to be, because no one makes Thrins in
I'm the
Nithraxil.
sole proprietor of burnip lore.
Yes. From a long lineage of burnip farmers,
We'll
I
let
hear.
you have. We'll let you have that.
Everything else, Soren gets shit on so fucking much. Let me have burnips.
His burnip powers. Can't believe we're going to be 20th level and you're going to be fighting, a Draco Illithalich, and you're going to use the power of the burnip to cancel it out. You create a new deity, the deity of burnips, Burnyip the burnip.
You're like Popeye, but instead of spinach, it's burnups.
It just makes me more
Yeah, you
powerful.
have some burnips and it makes your muscles freak out.
Welcome to the end of the episode, everyone.
If you liked what you heard, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really, really helps us.
And if you're not following us on social media, why not go give it a check? We have released a lot of art lately. Bug has been making dice based off of our characters.
Shiny pebbles.
Very
Yummy.
shiny, very yummy. Don't eat.
Don't eat. But if you want to find those, they're on our Instagram and our Facebook. And we also have a Patreon now.
Ooh.
So if you really like us and want to help us keep going and everything, you can go ahead and check it out over there. We have 2 tiers right now. One is just for general support, and the other one you get a little bit of little tasty little extras, like some behind-the-scenes stuff and some extra episodes. That includes our little goblin friends.
So go check it out. You can find our social media at bit.ly/allnecromancers if you're not already following us.
Yeah, yay!
See you next time.
Bye-bye!